What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen, and as you can see, I've got me a special guest with me. It's Cody from Bring the Juice podcast. What's
Yes,
up,
sir.
Cody?
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I'm pumped. Let's go.
Man, I am too. I'm really excited. Great news today, right?
Yeah.
Shoot, we was all worried. Is Sam Tebby going to be our starting left tackle? And then, there was rumors last week. Oh, a visit's coming. Will they sign Eric Fisher? When that went down, when you saw that tweet that said the Colts signed Eric Fisher to a 1-year, $9.4 million contract, what was the first thought that went through your head?
Oh crap, I got to get home and make a video. It's like that have you seen The Office? The whole idea of like when I think they're doing like a fire drill or something and Michael's like, "Oh my gosh, okay, it's happening." That's kind of how I was feeling at that point.
I
So,
get it.
Finally.
Yeah. Right? I was like, because I looked into it when they were talking about, that they scheduled a visit. And went into the Kansas City Chiefs stuff, and was going through their news on Eric Fisher. And I had seen that right after the draft, they talked about Fisher and said that their medical staff, that they thought that he was online to be cleared by mid-August. And I was like, wow, that's fast, for an Achilles tear, surgery that just happened in January, right?
Right.
And then I looked up the person that did the surgery actually invented a new way of doing this surgery a couple years back, and it's less invasive. It's a smaller cut, less heal time, better recovery. So, this could be that, he might get back earlier than what a lot of people expected. And then even if he doesn't, I'm sorry, but going from Sam Tebby to Eric Fisher, who in 2018 was playing right beside Quentin Nelson in that Pro Bowl, and then last year was selected to the Pro Bowl beforehand, that's a huge jump up. And it's got to put a little bit of, a lot of fans should be able to sigh a little bit of a sigh of relief, right?
Yes.
Because of the Carson Wentz situation, and they know Carson went through a lot of trouble last year without protection and stuff. Sacked 50 times in 12 games. That's unheard of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Carson should be pumping his fist just like we are, man. Wow, to go from what that Eagles offensive line was last year to now this Colts offensive line, and with Eric Fisher can get back, man, I think it's easily a top 3 offensive line. You can go on par with Cleveland and some in Tampa Bay. Honestly, I think you can. You can go on par with right with those teams. Because honestly, what is the weakness on this offensive line if Eric Fisher's back to form? Your biggest weakness is an above average right guard in Mark Lewinsky. Mm-hmm. And you'll take that every day, right? You'll take that every single day of the week. So I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. This is what I've been saying for a while. Like I did a video a couple weeks ago. I guess it was when Eric Fisher visited. We did a video on all the offensive tackles, and I was like, he just has such a high ceiling compared to the rest of these guys, right? Mm-hmm. And he's still young. He's only 30 years old. He just turned 30 in January. So, this guy's got everything you like as a tackle. The only concern is an injury, and really this is his first major injury, I think. I'm not sure what it was. I know he missed some games last year, too. Don't know if it was what the injury was exactly. But, as compared to a guy like even Mitchell Schwartz, who has some back problems, like I'm more willing to take the risk on a guy like Eric Fisher because the upside is so much more than any other tackles that I think were on the market at that point.
Yeah. See, you would you hit on something earlier. And now I can't remember what it was that I was going to say because I just kept going along with what you were saying.
Yeah.
See, with the thing about Eric Fisher is I'm okay if he can't start early on. Like you said, this is a great offensive line. We got a really good run game, right? Even if we have to put in a guard, right? A powerful guard over at left tackle and just lean heavily on the run game for a few games. I'm okay with that because we got a stable, right? We got a monstrous stable. So, hey guys, if you don't know Cody, then I have a link in the description of the video where you can check him out on Twitter and Bring the Juice podcast here on YouTube. I know most of you probably know who he is, but I do have a lot of people that follow other teams that come in here. So, make sure you go check him out. Also, don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag notification bell. Make sure all notifications are turned on because YouTube's funky like that and might not notify you unless you've got them all turned on.
Yeah.
Also, there's a couple links in the description as well for my Patreon and also my merch shop.
That's right. Sure I love it, man. It's looking great.
The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high-quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from. And all you got to do is just click one button, and you can... Yeah, I had my merch shop thing going. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I should have mentioned that to you. That's
you're
okay.
Good. No, you're good. You're good. I was like...
He's just sitting there being really quiet, and he's not saying nothing. Oh, there must be a video
did somebody trash me in the comments? Right.
No. But yeah, as you see, I got my merch come in for myself today. I got more stuff as well. I love the stuff. My merch shop from Streamlabs is awesome, and I try to keep the price down because I don't get a whole lot off of it. That way, it makes it easier for people to buy stuff because, good Lord, I went to some people's merch shops and they're like, a hat is $42. What? Yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel that.
But all right. So dealing with the Indianapolis Colts right now, what is the biggest worry now? Now that left tackle is done, the Colts drafted heavy on pass rush, right? We got Granson at tight end, who's probably going to fill that athletic tight end spot that we needed. Where's the biggest weakness that you see now?
Well, I wanted to cop out and say injuries are the biggest weakness because we haven't been able to stay healthy at certain points when we need to. But I think in terms of position, I'm looking at potentially, I don't think from a talent standpoint, it's an issue, but I just think from a consistency standpoint, who's going to be your other edge rusher is a question, right? We already know probably Quiddy's going to be one of your starters, but who of all these young pass rushers is going to finally take that leap? Because all these guys are getting close to contract years, right? Oops, sorry. I think you lost me there in the video. I don't know what happened there, but I'm still here. I'm still talking. But yeah, I think the pass rush is certainly one, and then definitely corner as well. We already like Xavier Rhodes and Kenny Moore, but I think that other corner spot is kind of up for grabs. It potentially could be a weakness as well. Rocky Sen's been up and down, like we said. So those are some of the potential weaknesses I think I see.
Yeah. The other edge, besides Quiddy, I think we'll probably be okay with. We got a lot of guys with high ceilings that are young. I think we're gonna find out, in training camp and preseason, who's gonna take that other edge spot. Whether it's Banagoo or Teray or Lewis or Muhammad, whoever it is. Not to mention Rochelle, right? I mean, he's in as well. But I agree with you on the cornerback situation where we're kind of worried about that second outside corner, whether Rock or Tell or whoever might end up taking that. But one thing that was worrying me is injuries at the wide receiver position. We've suffered quite a bit of injuries at wide receiver over the last few years. Even our rookie last year, Pittman missed a few weeks due to a calf injury. My boy Paris Campbell, who I absolutely love the talent that he brings to the field, but he's got to be on the field for it to happen, and he's not had a lot of opportunities with that. T.Y. Hilton's had issues with injuries over the last few years. It's something that worries me a little bit. And I was watching earlier today, and I know this is something that just kind of out there a little bit, and I just want to drop it because I was watching an interview with Devontae Adams earlier before we came on, and he was talking about this is his final year of his contract, and if Aaron Rodgers is not in Green Bay, that's going to play a big role in whether he re-signs with Green Bay or not. So could
Yeah.
you imagine?
Ooh. Oh man, that would be something. The question is, can the Colts afford a guy like Devontae Adams? I don't know if they can. That's the issue, I think, with all the guys now with Eric Fisher. I was somebody sent me an article. One of my friends sent me an article. It was a Stampy Blue article, which was kind of breaking down the Colts contracts a little bit. It's looking like they're going to have around maybe 10 million or so, depending on what the extensions are with some of the guys they have to, extend here soon, around 10 million. So I don't think that's going to get Devontae Adams to Indianapolis, if I'm being completely honest. But, that would be a dream, though. I tell you what.
Yeah, well, one good thing is, I mean, a lot of our guys, like our quarterback, we're set with him for 4 years, or most likely. We hope we are, And then, don't worry, guys. I'm sure he's coming back.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just trying to figure out the video. I don't know why it just froze like that. That was weird, but I'm still here. I'm still listening.
That's okay. But the guys that we got to worry about are the three guys that we need to re-sign, obviously. Smith at right tackle, the left guard, right? Quentin Nelson next year is going to need a big extension. This year, Darius Leonard. That's a lot of money that's going to come out. But because of the new TV contracts, commercial contracts that the NFL just got, and I think it's 2023, money's expected to jump big time. So with the way Ballard has been making these contracts for the Colts might have money to re-sign or sign a big name next year and still get these extensions done. But obviously this year the biggest problem is Smith and Leonard. And that brings me to another question. How much do you think that Smith and Leonard are going to cost the Colts on an annual basis?
That is a great question. I need to look at how much. Here, I have the article pulled up here. I think the article said around between both of them. I guess for Leonard, they said about $19.5 million. And then for Smith, about $10.25 million, which I think is probably about right on par. But he might get even more. Smith might even get more of the 12, 13 million because he obviously last year was phenomenal. So you think about all that, those two players alone, how much, well over 30 million investing in those two guys. I think they predicted around 33 million wrapped up in two players. I mean, well-deserved. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Around that price range is probably what the Colts are going to have to do to keep these guys and extend them long term. I mean, it's crazy that we're at this point where those guys are already due contract extensions. But I mean, that's what happens. That's what Ballard has wanted to do, right? He's wanted to find his own guys and be able to pay those guys. That's why he hasn't really gone free agency route much, right? He's really been really disciplined in that way. So I think now we see why Ballard's been kind of frugal in certain points in free agency, because some of these guys are going to cost a lot of money, especially those guys where they're drafted well, right? You drafted them really well.
Well, I mean, it's like the Colts are this is how good Ballard is at contracts. The Colts are number one in the least amount of money in dead cap space. It's like the number one team. They have the least amount of dead cap space in the NFL, which means Ballard knows what he's doing with contracts. He's not over-signing people that he don't believe can be here long term. Another thing that we got to worry about, what if Eric Fisher does well with the Colts? That means next year we're extending not only Quentin Nelson, but possibly Eric Fisher as well. And that's going to be a chunk of money. That's what I was getting right. That's one of the thing that I forgot about that you mentioned earlier. You said Eric Fisher's only 30. There's a lot of people out there that think 30-year-old is old for the NFL. In some positions it is. In skill positions it is. But on the offensive line, 30 years old is not that old at all, right? You could get mid-30s, even late 30s on offensive linemen and still be a top guy at your position in the NFL. It's not has to do with as much speed, agility, and quickness like the skill positions, as opposed to experience, knowledge, and strength
Right.
with what the offensive line does. So, yeah, Eric Fisher, if he plays well this year, shows he comes back from this injury, Ballard might be looking to extend him as well, and then the Colts might end up having the highest priced offensive line in the NFL.
True. Very true. Yeah, you mentioned it. That's something I'm glad that we talked about, because Derek and I actually just recorded a video on this, on the offensive line, and kind of looking at, okay, is Eric Fisher like the future at tackle for the Colts, right? He's only 30. He just turned 30. So you see guys like Andrew Whitworth, who's 39 years old, who's still playing at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
So you're right. Some of these tackles, I mean, even the guys like Russell Okung, who's 33, 34, these guys are still playing, and they're still good starters for you. Now, some of these guys have dealt with some more injuries than others. Obviously, the Colts with the Achilles are going to have to monitor that. That's nothing to play around with. But I agree. I think that potentially Eric Fisher, the thing that I think is good about the 1-year deal, some people were like, why don't they sign him to like a multi-year deal or something? You just don't know how he's going to fully recover. Is he going to be the same player he was? And I think this doesn't lock you in long term, if indeed he isn't, right? If he does struggle coming off of that Achilles injury, what happens then? And you had him for another year and you don't really want him. You have to cut him, and maybe it's some dead cap against you there. So, yeah, I overall really like the way the Colts are going about this. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but all their free agent signings this year were 1-year deals. I think so.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
crazy.
I want to thank Kelvin Beatty for the $5 that he donated through Super Chat here. I really appreciate that, Kelvin. That's really cool of you. What's up? He says, and we're just sitting here talking about the Colts and some of the signings and things to expect coming up. So
yeah,
I appreciate the $5 through Super Chat. That always helps. Let's get into some questions here. This is supposed to be a Q&A, and we've just been chatting our butts off. So, is there anything in the chat that you're seeing that you want to put an answer to yourself?
Here, let me double check here. Sorry, I was having issue with my camera. I don't know what was going on, so I just decided to put a thumbnail avatar and all that stuff. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Joseph says Nelson's going to set the market at guard. I agree. I think he's definitely going to. Oh, man. Yeah, I think a lot of this is kind of doubling back on what we talked about, just how the Colts are going to have to pay both these guys a handsome amount. So glad that they just signed Fisher to a 1-year deal for right now. And obviously they're going to have to pay Nelson next year too, right? Because they picked up his 5th-year option. So you at least can put it off for another year, but he's going to break the bank. I think he definitely is. He's going to be the highest paid offensive lineman, no doubt, here very soon.
I see Derek is in the chat, says, what's up? Say Eric Fisher and watch Cody just smile.
I know. I was so happy. Derek knows. I was freaking giddy, man. I was like, this is like a late birthday present to me, man.
Yeah. And for a lot of Colts fans. Jordan Kindernecht says, how much action do you think Jordan Wilkins will get this season?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, let me ask you this question. The guy that the Colts signed, the undrafted free agent, do you think he has a legitimate chance to take off Jordan Wilkins from the roster? I mean, there's been debate on this.
Probably not.
Okay.
But what I do see most likely, because Jordan Wilkins still a very good running back. Even though he's our 4th-string running back, he's still very good.
Yeah.
What I could see happening is the UDFA ends up going to our practice squad. And at the end of the year, Jordan Wilkins will probably be let go because the Colts, are just kind of keeping a rotation going. I could see Naheem Hines possibly getting re-signed, but Wilkins might end up being let go to get more opportunity elsewhere because he is a good running back, and the Colts just have too much talent to use him to his proper ability. I think that he could go to another team, get a good signing somewhere, an opportunity to prove himself, and then that UDFA could end up being on the roster like full time, the 53-man roster, have a shot at it at least next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Sorry, we kind of got off track there. I think if he is the fourth running back on the roster, I don't really see him being anything but a special teams guy, honestly, unless like we saw last year, unless like say Marlon Mack goes down again or one of those guys goes down, maybe then he steps into a bigger role. But I think as it stands right now, the Colts don't really use a fourth running back that much, right? He's more of just maybe he'll dress, maybe not. I mean, we've seen that before, but he can also be very, very valuable if one of your guys goes down. We've seen that countless times over the last couple of years. But that's kind of my thoughts on Jordan Wilkins. I agree. He's a really good player. I think he deserves to go to somewhere that'll give him more of a legitimate shot to like compete for a starting spot. I love Jordan Wilkins, but yeah, I just think this running back room is just so crowded right now. It's hard to see him really getting any time at running back right now.
I'm going to get this question from Ant Rogers because he's a patron of mine over on Patreon, where everybody can go check my stuff out. It's only $5 a month, where you get everything that I put out, whether it's on this channel, somewhere else, or, I also put up Patreon-specific stuff as well. Ant Rogers says, how do you guys feel about Will Fries at guard? He actually wasn't bad against Pay all those years they played against each other.
Yeah, I mean, I like Will Fries. I think the Colts kind of got him. I was surprised he was still there in round 7. I mean, some people pegged him as like a 4th round pick. So I think he could be a quality backup guy for you at guard. I think he can be a spot starter if need be, not right away, because I think Chris Reed will probably do that, and they'd probably put like Danny Pinter there even before they put him there. But I think he can develop into a nice player for you, a nice rotational guy. He's played pretty much every position, right? He's pretty. If I'm not mistaken, he's pretty versatile in what he can do. So I think that is definitely, it could be maybe that Joe Haig type of player for you, that if you have some injuries, he can fill in at left tackle, at left guard, at right guard, or right tackle. And I think that's so invaluable. The question is, can he do it well? That is a big question. I think he can, especially like you said, he's gone up against some pretty good competition in the Big Ten. So, I like Will Fries quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I actually comped him a little bit to exactly who you said, Joe Haig, a guy who could play just about anywhere except center, right? And
right.
we got a backup at center, so and he plays pretty decent, but he's not going to be a starter. Not with Ryan Kelly sitting there. Ooh, hey, Colts Loyalist 5678 just bought a sweatshirt and one other of my merchandise. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jordan again with a good question. With Anthony Walker gone, what other linebacker should the Colts target? And I'm going to give the first answer on this. I hated seeing Anthony Walker go. I knew it was going to happen because he just wasn't going to get the snaps that he truly needs. Going to the Cleveland Browns, I think he's going to make a huge impact, and he'll probably earn a monster contract with them next year. I don't see the Colts really having a massive need at the Sam linebacker position because Bobby Okereke is going to move over to that spot where Anthony Walker was, and then of course Darius Leonard will have the will down. Colts don't usually have a Sam. They have a Sam on the field less than 30% of the time. More than 70% of the time, they're either in nickel or in dime. So you can get away with having a less talented linebacker at Sam, or even bring in a safety. We just signed Sean Davis, who is a hard-hitting safety. I think he could be a guy that could come in and kind of be that extra run support that the Sam linebacker themselves that's generally what they do anyhow. What are your thoughts?
There's a lot of guys that I like, right, in this linebacker core. Even some of those undrafted free agents. I think Derek likes what's his name? I can never pronounce his last name, but he's a linebacker. He's very athletic. We just looked at him, and I'm totally blanking on his name. I apologize. But he's like very much a Darius Leonard mold, obviously undrafted versus second round pick. You can talk about that, but overall, I like him. I think maybe he has a shot at the roster, kind of that back end of the roster. I like what he can do. But I'm very intrigued to see what EJ Speed does. he's got everything you're looking for in terms of size, obviously speed as well, no pun intended. He's got all that stuff, right? And so I'm curious now, the couple of years he's had to kind of sit behind some of these guys, are the Colts going to use him in more of a role this season? I'm very intrigued to see that. But, I wouldn't be mad if you get a guy like Zaire Franklin or Matthew Adams that just steps into that Sam linebacker. They've done it before. They have experience at that Sam linebacker. They're not going to see many snaps. So I'm not really that concerned with that Sam linebacker position as much. It was a bummer to see Anthony Walker go. I agree with you. I thought it's like he's a homegrown guy. He's exactly what you want. But I just think in terms of what the Colts want to do at Mike linebacker, I just don't know if he was the right fit. Right, because they want more of a coverage, athletic type of guy, and that just wasn't Anthony Walker. As much as we love him and he was a great captain of the defense, I just think that wasn't his forte, right? I mean, we saw it in that Cleveland game. Speaking of Cleveland, he got shredded by the tight ends that one drive, especially by I believe it was Austin Hooper. He just basically drove down the field on Anthony Walker. So I think those are some of the guys I like. It'll be intriguing to see which guy takes it, though. Because I'd be fine with really any of these guys taking it.
Mm-hmm. JDW, what's going on, man? Appreciate you being here. He says, by the way, the interview that we did was awesome. So thanks. I'm assuming you're talking about the director of player personnel for the Indianapolis Colts that Cody and I and Derek and a bunch of others were there for. I had contact with the Colts afterwards, and they said that they were pleased with how it went, and there is a possibility some more things might be coming our way in the future. So let's keep fingers crossed and hope we get into some more interviews and stuff like that in the future.
I hope so, man. You know what? Like, we put out content so much, and okay, we're not a part of the media, but like, we're just as knowledgeable, I think. Honestly, I do. So I think that we deserve, based off of our body of work, both of our bodies of work, I think it speaks for itself, right? So I agree with you. I think that I would love more opportunities. I thank the Colts and Kevin Rogers for that interview. That was really awesome. And I would love more opportunities. And, that's something I'm trying to do and trying to help us out in, and hopefully we all are here. Just like not just the content creators, but like we want to be a part of what the Colts are doing in their media and all that stuff. I mean, that's the goal, right? That's what we want to do eventually.
Speaking of which, we were just talking off air right before we got on here about possibly, getting into training camp. If they hold open training camps, we'll definitely be there at times. Even if not, there is a chance maybe this year we could get ourselves, some media passes like they offered back in 2019, where a lot of us got those. And maybe be able to get a little behind the scenes, maybe interviews or something like that as well. I just hope that they have open training camp like they had before last year, because last year sucked. There was nothing like that, and only official media were allowed at their practices and stuff, and even then they had to stand outside the doors or on the roof of the building, taking pictures. So it was rough on them, let alone guys like us.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. It was cool that we were able to talk to Ballard and Reich, though. That was pretty awesome. I don't know if I can't remember. I wasn't a part of it. Derek was. I don't know if you were able to hop in there and talk to them, but that was a cool opportunity last year.
Oh, sorry. My wife was talking to me.
No worries at all. I was like, did my mic mute or something? Just want to make sure I was good.
No, they were saying that I think their internet or something was cut out downstairs. My internet seems to be going fine.
Yeah, you're good. You're good over here.
All right, Buck Dancer, welcome to the stream. Appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot for the question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about where our roster is right now? And I'll let you go with this first.
Oh my word! What a question. Putting me on. Oh, I mean, I'll just say 8 because there's questions. There is. I feel a lot better than last year, I would say, because I feel better. But honestly, I feel better about quarterback. I feel better about pass rush on the edge, and I feel better about even running back. I feel better about a lot of positions, right? because there's a lot more known, I think, than there was last year. There still are some unknown, like obviously Eric Fisher and stuff like that. But I feel like the Colts identified their weaknesses really well this offseason. I think Ballard, no GM is perfect, but I think he secretly has had a really, really good offseason. Not just addressing it once in the draft, but twice, getting 2 edge rushers and then getting your potential future left tackle for the next couple of years. So I'm going to say 8. I mean, it'll depend really. That'll really depend on Fisher's health, and then afterwards how he performs, and then how some of these younger guys continue to perform at the pass rush. But I think of those 2 things, and obviously Carson Wentz, can get back to some sort of form that's good and serviceable and is not harmful to the team. I feel pretty good about it, honestly.
All right, so Buck Dancer, the question that you threw at me is kind of cheating me out of some streams that I have. I just started a series that I just started today, early morning, where I'm going over every individual position group and grading them on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, but my first one I put out like 1 o'clock this morning, and it was over the safeties. And again, I like our starting safeties. The 2 that are backing them up, I'm okay with. Both Sean Davises, to be fair.
Right.
It is. One Sean Davis, the one from Pittsburgh, is going to be backing up Blackman, I'm almost 100% sure. And then the Sean Davis that we just drafted, I think will be over there at the strong safety position as a backup, because he's the hitting safety. And
right.
That's how I feel. And then, of course, Odom, who is a safety, but really he's on the team because he is a top-notch special teamer. I mean, when you're an all-pro, you can say top-notch and be legit about that.
Yeah.
Overall, as a team, I'll probably go with what Cody's saying, about an 8. That sounds about fair.
Yeah.
There's questions on health-wise at wide receiver. Again, depth at cornerback. How well, our quarterback is going to do. That, I mean, as much faith as we have in Ballard and what we see and think, he still has to prove it on the field. Like you said, Fisher. There's different things. A lot of question marks on how well the pass rush is going to end up doing. But I like where the roster on paper is sitting right now.
Yeah, I think, honestly, and I've been thinking about this. I've been mulling this over today. I think maybe immediately it may not look like much of an upgrade immediately, right? But for the long term, you're definitely improved. You definitely are. Your potential is so much more than it was last offseason at quarterback, at tackle, and really at pass rush too. I really feel like it is. I mean, honestly. And like you mentioned safety, I completely forgot about that. Now you know who your 2 starting safeties are going to be, and you have faith they're going to stay relatively healthy, knock on wood, right? I mean, both these guys have been really good last year. They were really durable for you. So I think there's a lot more answers on this Colts roster in 2020 than there was in going into the 2020 season. Going into 2021, I should say, there's a lot more answers than there was last year.
I can't say the full name here because, the middle part of the name. But anyhow, 317 Dog Blank Boys 317 has an interesting question that I'll go ahead and bring up. Who is going to take the number 1 receiver spot this season? I'm gonna leave that out for you first.
Oof, okay. I mean, I think it's Pittman's to take, man. I do. I really feel like Pittman showed a lot. Obviously had that injury, which kept him out a couple games, but I really liked what I saw in that Buffalo game. He was showing traits of being a number 1 receiver. I think now with a full offseason with the Colts, I think the sky's the limit for a guy like Michael Pittman. I think Carson Wentz is going to love him. I mean, obviously, you know what he did with Alshon Jeffrey, who was a very big receiver as well. The thing I've wanted to see from Pittman is just the touchdowns in the red zone. And I think the Colts are going to use him. They should, at least. I hope they do. Use him more in the red zone because he's got everything you're looking for in terms of a big possession receiver. I mean, he's got the size, the weight, all that stuff. So I think Pittman has a very good chance to do that. I think he's definitely my number 1 guy because, I mean, T.Y. Hilton's still a very good receiver for you, but maybe it's time to kind of pass that torch on, kind of like we saw with T.Y. Hilton and Reggie Wayne a little bit. I mean, Reggie was still solid, but T.Y. really took that mantle and became the number one receiver for the Colts. And that's kind of what I think maybe is going to happen here with Pittman here in year 2.
All right, so putting all the cards on the table. Let's say all the receivers are healthy the entire season. I'm going to say Pittman will lead the team in touchdowns, but I think Campbell would lead the team in targets and yards, just because of his ability to. Because I did that film room watching all of the games that he actually played, every snap that he played over the past 2 seasons. And when he's on the field, he is so hard to cover. If you put a big receiver, because he's 6 foot, so if you put a big receiver on him, they're too slow to keep up with him. And if you put a little guy on him, he's tall enough that you could just throw it right over him and he can catch it. Paris Campbell is a mismatch at wide receiver. It's scary, but he's got to stay healthy. That's my issue. I love Michael Pittman Jr. I think that he is a good all-around wide receiver. Not only is he great hands, he's got good route running, he's got the body size, he can run block, So that alone, being that he's a 4-down wide receiver, in my opinion, which means he's going to get more opportunities than a lot of the other receivers out there on the field. So that's the best way I could put it. I think it's definitely going to be a toss-up between those two. As much, and again, like you said, T.Y. is still a very good receiver, but we're not going to, if all the receivers are healthy this year, you're not going to see T.Y. getting double-teamed all the time. You're not going to see any of the receivers getting double-teamed. Our top 4 receivers are all pretty good. I mean, even go down to Zach Pascal. He's shown that he can carry a load at times, So I think we got 4 really good receivers as long as they stay healthy.
Yes.
Another question. Joseph Thornburg, what's up, my guy? Before I get to your question, though, all of you guys, I got well over 35 people here watching. Please smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag notification bell. Make sure that all notifications are turned on. I'm not too shy to ask for likes, guys, because it helps with analytics here on YouTube. Get my video out to more people. Thornburg says, this ain't a Colts question, but what's your thoughts about the circus in Jacksonville right now?
Tim Tebow, man. Oh, wow. I was like, he's like 33. What in the world? What are they doing down in Jacksonville? I mean, my goodness. Can you imagine if Lawrence gets hurt and Tim Tebow is your starting quarterback or something crazy like that? Oh, my goodness. Talk about a circus, man.
Oh, wow. Well, what about Green Bay? Green Bay right now with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, and then a certain Mr. Kelly is trying out for quarterback over there.
I saw that.
Really?
I was trolling some of those Kelly truthers earlier and said, "You mean it's kind of like the pipe dream of Chad Kelly being our franchise quarterback's dead now?" Oh man, big bummer, man.
Justin Whitmer, what's up? Appreciate you being here, man. Glow's contract ends soon. Who do you think ends up replacing him? Do we let him walk? And if so, who replaces him, Pinter or Fries?
Probably Pinter, I would guess, right away. If you do let him walk, I think you maybe could still bring him back. I wouldn't mind bringing him back. He's been a solid player for you. Why not? And especially, I think it'll depend on how they feel like Danny Pinter has developed. Has he gotten stronger? Has he gotten better, at guard? Because he's still relatively new to the guard position, right? He played tackle primarily at Ball State. So, but yeah, I think if I'm choosing, if say he's gone, probably Pinter. But I think they might even consider addressing it in the draft next year, or maybe signing a veteran guy or maybe even Chris Reed. They might sign him back. I don't know. There's a lot of ways that could go, but that's something I don't want to. I don't think we should talk about right now. There's a lot more to talk about, but I think it's something down the line we're definitely going to have to talk about.
I think Lewinsky has earned his $6 million a year contract, and that he signed before. In my opinion, if you want to give him another 3 years, $6 million, I'd be okay with that. We all know depth is important, right? And $6 million ain't that much. And if he's willing to do it, do it. And then we'll still have Fries and Pinter sitting there. They can fight for whoever wins the starting position. And then You know, I mean, let's say Pinter or Fries wins the starting position over Glowinski. It's not a bad thing to have Glowinski as a backup,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Depth is key, man.
yeah,
I agree.
exactly.
Um, yeah, I speaking of depth, I mean, I think this is the deepest Colts offensive line we've seen in a long time, right? I mean, you have three guys, well, probably two guys. Well, maybe depending on Sam Tevy, you probably have three guys. You feel okay, like if they need to start for a game or two, you don't feel like, oh gosh, it's LaRaven Clark and Chaz Green against the Steelers. You know what I mean? Like you feel okay about it. Like you feel like you can get by for a couple games. And we haven't been able to say that in the past. I think Ballard's finally learned his lesson from that game last year where he realizes, yeah, we need more depth on the offensive line. And he's just continued to do that and do it really to a high degree. So I am pumped for the depth on offensive line. I think it's the deepest one we've had in a while, like I mentioned.
Jay Davis, he's a Patriots fan, but he follows me here. Great guy. Off the wall question. Is it even possible that the Colts turn out to be so good this year, with everyone hitting on all cylinders, that they won't even need next year's draft?
Wait, what? What's going to happen to the draft then? You know?
Well, okay. He's basically saying, would we need anyone? You know, we wouldn't need to draft anyone. No, dude. There's no such thing as that. No such.
You
thing.
Always do. You know, you always do.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Even when the Patriots were winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl, they were replenishing their roster with new guys and letting other guys walk because they were needing too much money. Because once you got a team that wins a Super Bowl or is obviously really good, that's when you start having salary cap issues because all these guys want paid, and you have to let some of these guys go and replenish them with the draft. We know this, okay? We see it happen all the time. So no, every year, every team needs the draft to replenish ranks.
Yeah, because you're most likely not going to be able to re-sign all your guys next year. There's going to be somebody that you're like, oh, I wish we could have re-signed, but you're just not going to be able to. So I definitely think you're going to have to address some positions in the draft next year. And again, we don't know what they're going to be. I mean, we can make predictions on what those positions could be, but yeah, I think you're right. There's always a need for a position, always something you could address and tweak. I mean, I kind of wish the Colts would have another draft so they could address some other positions to kind of shore up, like maybe corner or wide receiver. But, that's neither here or there. So, but yeah, I definitely agree. I think you're going to have to really tap into that draft next year to get some depth, and then also just to replenish some of the guys that are inevitably going to walk in free agency.
Waxer, thanks for being here. He says all the receivers healthy. That's a myth. That's like Sasquatch.
I know.
For the Indianapolis
really
Colts,
happens.
yeah, that if all of them stayed healthy, that would be like spotting Bigfoot. But it never happens. I mean, it could happen. I doubt it, but it could.
It could.
Randy Hoffman. I think J.J. Nelson could surprise some people and make a few plays for us. Any thoughts on J.J. Nelson?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. That tells you how much I know about J.J. Nelson. I kind of forgot he was on the roster. Man, maybe he's like a Marcus Johnson in a way where you get some injuries to your wide receivers and he steps in and you're like, who is this guy? Mm-hmm. I can see that maybe happening. But I think for the immediate, probably not going to make the roster. I don't know your thoughts on that. Maybe you know a little bit more about J.J. Nelson, but I'd rather probably go with one of those younger wide receivers. I think there's going to be a big battle for number 5. I think there's going to be a big battle because we know the top 4, right? But
I think Strachan gets it.
Yeah, you think so?
Mm-hmm.
What about DeMichael Harris? Because I feel like he was an unsung hero last year that nobody talks about, but I'm like, I want him to see more time.
I like DeMichael Harris. All right. I thought that he played very well when he was called upon last year, but he's also a very, very slender, fast receiver, and I'm afraid that he's going to get hurt. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's a guy I think can legitimately, again, go right on to that practice squad, right? I think he's a practice squad player that, if needed, can be called upon and brought up. I think you could drop him on the practice squad and not have to worry about another team reaching out and grabbing him.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my thought. But
yeah.
JJ, again, maybe. I don't know a whole lot about J.J. Nelson. I'm kind of with you, Cody. But at the same time, like I said, I do watch a lot of film, but it's either all Colts film or specific players from college when I'm doing my film rooms. So
Right.
I haven't really gotten a whole lot of J.J. Nelson.
Yeah, he was kind of an under the radar signing that I honestly forgot about that the Colts did sign him. So maybe I'll have to look back on him and kind of give my thoughts, more educated thing here, because I did not expect to come into this stream and anybody to say the name J.J. Nelson, if I'm being completely honest. So
yeah, me neither. We have very well-learned fans and followers here that follow the Colts and everybody. So shout out to all you guys answering questions, it's stumping us, and we follow pretty hardcore. So Julian says he thinks Patman's going to get the 5th receiver spot.
Ooh, I don't know, man. He was pretty raw, He's physically gifted, but he's pretty raw, I think. But, you look at Michael Strawn, who you mentioned, he is a freak, man. I mean, Desmond Patman's very gifted, but Michael Strawn is on another level of freak. Like, he dominated. I mean, completely dominated at Division II. I know it's Division II, but my goodness, this guy, he's got the size, he's got the speed, he's got everything you're looking for. And, I feel like he could have gone D1, but he decided to stay where he stayed because he wanted to be loyal to the team. So he's got that. He's like a good locker room guy too. Very motivated guy.
Okay, we're closing in on the amount of time I have left for Cody here, so I'm going to grab one last question, and since he just bought some merch of mine, by the way, go check out that link in the description for my merch shop. Colts Loyalist 5678 says, does the acquisition from the past few weeks change our predictions for the Colts win-loss record?
I'm sorry, read that one more time.
Does the acquisition from the past few weeks, drafts and signings of Fisher, does that change your predictions on this year's win-loss record?
Oh, man. I think maybe it should. Because you talk about maybe, probably the best, some people argue Jalen Phillips, but one of the best pass rushers in the draft and also one of the best tackles in the game. I mean, that's big. Those are key prime positions that you've needed to address. And I felt like you could have maybe gotten by, but I wouldn't have been happy about it if you didn't address those. But now that you've really, really hardcore addressed those, I think it will from even a couple weeks ago. I think it definitely should. Now, again, I'm not going to predict the Colts record quite yet. Not quite there yet to go through all. I'm waiting until the schedule drops on Wednesday to kind of give predictions. But I think it should. I really think it should.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, do we play Baltimore at home or in Baltimore, right?
Exactly.
Stuff like that. So that's going to be big keys. Do we play the Bucks at home or do we play them there? I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's gonna. But you're right. Over the past couple weeks, Colts loyalists definitely. I agree with Cody. It should at least push the needle one win, right?
Yeah.
Definitely, in my opinion. So just let me know, Cody, when you're ready to go. You got time for another question, or
let's do one more. Yep,
right.
I'm good.
Do you have one in mind, or do you want me to try to find one?
Let me pull it up here and see if I can find a good one.
I've been trying.
As a Colts fan, he was. Okay. This is one interesting from Lux7, a little bit further down.
Okay.
So, as a Colts fan who wants to get in the sports talk game and want to talk with Colts fans, where would you recommend I start? Well, I mean, I think that we can both say we just kind of started doing it and we figured out things along the way. So, and I just recommend that. Just start going at it. And if you're wanting to do like podcasting like we do, or I know you do more vlogs and everything like that, Lawrence, I just say just start doing it. Just start building up your audience. I would say, and correct me if you think I'm wrong here, Lawrence, but I think it's big to just start getting, a presence on social media too. It's big to just start doing that. I mean, honestly, I started from scratch, and Colts Nation has been very good to me. I'll just say that. So I would say just continue to just start there. Just start grinding, just start producing content, and the people will come. They will. So that, I guess that's hopefully, kind of an encouragement to you. I mean, Gosh, Lawrence, I think I told you this. Maybe I didn't, but I'll just share it anyway. Like, there was a point when in the first year I created that podcast, when the Colts were really not having a great year. I lost my job. I was just kind of feeling really down, and I just kind of stopped doing the podcast for a while and thought about giving it up, honestly, thought about quitting. I was like, this is even worth it. It seems like nobody even cares to listen, all these things. But I couldn't stop talking about the thing I love, man. Couldn't stop doing it. And, when I did and I continued to push, it came, it eventually came. I got better as a speaker and just in general. I feel like I got wiser in my takes and everything like that. Hopefully I did at least. But I feel like I have a little bit. But yeah, I guess if that's any encouragement to you, like we all start somewhere. So just continue, just start doing that if you haven't, and just start grinding, man.
Shout out to JDW. He's already reached out to him in the chat, talking to hook him up with software and some tips.
Absolutely.
And stuff. So that's awesome. Also, you could follow us both. We got our Twitter handle down there. You could message me if you have any questions. I started off a little different than Cody. I started off writing articles on Colts.com. And then I went to an actual another place and started writing stuff for full press coverage. Then someone says, you should get into podcasting. So I got into audio podcasting, and then I got hit up with Sportscaster and says, hey, you want to do video stuff? So I started doing video stuff, and it just rolled from there. And it was just basically step by step working my way up and getting more comfortable. As Cody was saying, the more you do it, the more experience you have in it, the more comfortable you get, and it just starts to come naturally being able to talk to people. So,
yeah, and I even I started like before I created my account, I just started I had just like a Colts account that I just would kind of live tweet the games. I just started doing that because I was like, I just want to do something to interact with Colts fans, and did a little bit of writing myself for a couple different websites. And then eventually it was just like, I feel like I just need to talk about about my team, So I hope that's encouraging to you and to just everybody who's our content creators, because we know the grind, man. We do. It is a grind. It really is. But it's definitely worth it, especially when you have those people who, like JDW, you can just say those kind words like that. Like that just means a lot. It means the world to me. So, yeah.
All right, man. If you do me a favor, if you would exit yourself out when you're able to, because
absolutely,
I've got it enlarged so that I got the screen proper. But I want to thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you being here. It's always great to talk football, especially Colts, with you, Cody.
Yeah.
Don't forget, guys, links in the description where you can find him on Twitter, and you can check out here on YouTube the Bring the Juice podcast. So make sure you go check that stuff out. And
all right.
Hope you have a great day, Cody.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me on, Lawrence.
Yeah, no problem. And I'm here all by myself now. What's going on, Nano505? Appreciate you being here. I will still sit here for a few more minutes, guys. I just wanted Cody said he had to step out after 50 minutes. Okay, so I can hang. I can hang for a minute if you're willing to hang for a minute. Just because Cody left doesn't mean that it's all said and done and over with. I seen y'all going in there going bye, but no, I'm good. But Pedro 51, thanks for being here. Pedro is another guy who joined my Patreon just recently. I appreciate that so much. So here we are. This feels weird. I'm not used to having one of these jersey tees, and I kind of like it. I haven't worn one in since I was a kid, but I really, really like it. So, Avery, what's going on? Yeah, you missed Cody. The first 50-some minutes, he had to step out. I'll still stay here. Avery, if you need to ask a question or something, you're more than welcome to. What's up, Sarah? Thanks for being here. Lawrence, you're amazing. I'm so happy we got Fisher. Let's go Colts. He is already following Big Q and made the announcement on his Instagram today. That's great. Yeah, we're all excited about Fisher. especially with the fact that there's rumors that the guy who did his surgery was the innovator of the new, less evasive type surgery, which allows faster recovery time. That's why the Kansas City Chiefs medical staff stated mid-August. And that's why the Colts are saying September, because after they looked at him, and did a workout. So there's a chance. But even then, even if he's a few weeks late, big deal. $9.4 million for a Pro Bowl style left tackle is a freaking steal, in my opinion. So, Colts Loyal says, I didn't see my new Patreon show up. Did I do something incorrect? No, it did. If you look right there, it is. Right there, Colts Loyalist. It did pop up on the screen here in the box, and then it showed up right here. So, yes, it says that you purchased my Gideon sweatshirt and one other merch item from the store, and with a message, love all your content. So, yes, it did show up. It stays up for about 2 minutes and then disappears. So, just let you know. It doesn't show up in the actual YouTube chat. It just shows up. This is why I've got what I've got here, so that this stuff, like subscribers and people who buy, people who donate or join Patreon or something, that'll show up over here and it'll be in the videos itself. Yeah. JDW says, that's a nice shirt. I will be buying some merch when I get to the bank account to do so. Oh, appreciate you, man. There's a bunch of stuff in my merch shop, man. It's freaking awesome. I really love the company that does my merch shop. My hair is a mess, but give me a second and I'll show you my hat up close. And then on the back, I got to have a good one sign on it. And then I have, I don't need my headset no more. I have the hooded sweatshirt where it has have a good one on the back as well. But yeah, it's great. Quality of all the stuff is awesome. Dude, those sweatshirts are heavy and warm and soft and comfortable. Just let you know, there's a handbag that my sister-in-law bought, says it's really strong and sturdy. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in there. Also, just to let you know, if you have a phone and you want a case, but your case doesn't show up on the list, it's because I only put specific cases on there for each brand. If there's a specific phone that you want a case for, like an iPhone 7, let's say, if you send me a message in the comment section and say you want that but in that style, I will respond to you and I will set that up and let you know when it's up on the board for you. Just to let you know. Julian says, in my opinion, Colts Nation has some of the most knowledgeable fans in the league. Go Colts Nation. I can't disagree. In general, they're not too delusional. I mean, even I have homerism, right? Even I have homerism. But I try to curve it a little bit, right? I want to be realistic, right? You know what I'm saying? I do have expectations, but at the same time, I understand that a lot of times those expectations aren't going to be met for one reason or another. Like injuries, to Paris Campbell and Toure, things of that nature just happen. It just happened. JDW, Colts Law, do you have any tips for when I'm doing live streams? I get too nervous and stutter so freaking much. Yeah, I do have a tip for you. And I'll tell you, don't act like you're talking to somebody, okay? Like me to you. Like I've gotten comfortable now. I understand I'm talking directly to you. But just pretend that you're reading a text message on Twitter or something, and just talk to them like you're texting them. Now, if you're one of those kind of people, that are, Twitter bosses, and we'll just talk a lot of smack. Don't do that. But it's came to my realization that a lot of times when I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my Twitter messages, and notifications and stuff, and I'll see you read, and then how you think about what you're going to say back. You just say that. You don't have to necessarily even look directly into the camera. You ever notice how a lot of times I'm like, not directly at the camera? It's because I'm thinking of what I'm going to say first. And then when I start saying it, that's when I look up. And I'm just in the process of saying it. So it doesn't really bother me too much. It's that camera that you got to get past. That's all it is. All right. Do you mind if I keep saying Colts Law? No. Colts Law, that's cool. You can call me Lawrence Owen. You can call me Colts Law. I don't care, man. I've been running the Colts Law handle for years. All right, so it's all good. It's all good. Avery, with all the cards that have so far fallen in place, what do you see as the Colts' end result this season record-wise? Darn it, I have to go back that way again. Okay, so I can see about it so far. Again, we just talked about this earlier with Cody. I still would like this a few more days, and we'll know the actual schedule and what home games, away games. That's going to make a difference, right? But we play New England. Now, we play New England at home in October. I give us a much better shot at beating New England than if we're playing New England in December in Foxborough, right? Because we all know what kind of crazy crap that is. So, in general, I still have us winning the division of the AFC South over the Titans. Right now, I got somewhere between 10, 11 wins, but that can go up or down via, what the schedule looks like on home and aways. Avery, with all the... Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay, dude. That's all right. I didn't realize that you had missed it. So, good pass. It's just crazy how the Colts community is. It is. It's awesome, though. Julian, how good do you think the Colts will be? Jim Irsay has been on record saying he wants sustained success and multiple championships. What do you think? I think it can happen. I think Ballard is building a team for the long-term success. Okay, we have a lot of really good, very young players on this team. Our starting quarterback is still young. Defensively, we cut how much age off of the team when, Houston left, right? Autry left. That cut a lot of age right down. Bam. We're one of the youngest teams in the NFL, and yet still we're considered, playoff contenders and Super Bowl contenders this year. So, yes, if Ballard keeps doing what he's doing and is able to somehow continue to do this, he could keep it going for a while. Yeah. Chris Troger says 12-5. That's reasonable. That's reasonable. But you got to remember, our out-of-division schedule is one of the toughest in the NFL. Out of the division, we have the NFC West, who is going to be so tough. I think the Rams are probably going to be the most improved team in the NFL. Then you got the Seahawks with Russell Wilson. You got the Niners, who are going to be healthy. Last year they weren't that good because 90% of their team was injured. Arizona's going to be turning some heads because it'll be Murray's second year. They've got a two-headed monster at pass rush now with J.J. Watt sitting opposite their primary guy. Yeah, they're that NFC West, that whole division is going to be tough to play. And then we got the AFC East. The Patriots went out and had a heck of a draft. They went out and bought a bunch of people in free agency, and not just anybody. Young, high, talented players, right? So I think the Patriots are going to be a tough out this year. Obviously, the Bills are going to be a tough out. Now, Miami's going to rise and fall on Tua, but overall, they're a good team. I mean, the weakest team that we play against outside of our division is going to be the Jets. and Wilson at quarterback, another rookie, and they didn't go out, But anyhow, Loyalists, what's more important, top tier GM or an elite player? Oh, GM. Let me finish your question though. Or an elite player at any position other than quarterback? GM. I would say an elite GM is more important than an elite quarterback. Why? Because an elite GM can build a team around an average or above average or just good quarterback, right? And make that team very good. An elite quarterback can only carry a team so far. We had an elite quarterback with luck, right? We had an elite quarterback with luck, but because our GM was trash at the time, and I'm sorry for all you Grigson supporters, he was not very good. Now found ourselves in a situation that we were in when Ballard took over, right? So I will say elite GM is more important than even an elite quarterback at this point, because I've seen what I've seen. We were lucky with Peyton Manning because we had Bill Polian, who was an elite GM. We had an elite head coach. We had an elite quarterback. And we won a lot of regular season games. Avery, although he may sit, what would be the timetable on Odangbo or Odangbo? I have to remember to pronounce it correctly. I have issues with that. Let me take a drink of my soda real quick, if you don't mind. I don't know who did Deo's surgery, so I don't know his timetable. But I would say he will probably come out later than Fisher. And because he's in a position where he actually he puts out more physical effort than what Fisher does. Fisher plays left tackle. He doesn't move nearly as much, hard, fast, quick, that kind of stuff as Deo does. I think Deo's it might take him a little longer to come back. I don't expect to see Deo until at least midway through the season, if the season at all. I would have no problem having him completely redshirted for the season. And then if he's ready at playoff time, then maybe bring him out. But I would rather be safe than sorry with a guy like that who uses that Achilles on explosive moves off. I mean, this guy puts 130% of his effort into every single play, which means that he's putting a ton of stress on that Achilles tendon every single play. That thing has to be at 130% efficiency in order to keep up with what he's putting it through. So I want him to be fully healthy before he gets out there on the field. Otherwise, he could, re-injure it, and I don't want to see that. We got to think long-term with someone like that. That's my opinion. Hurricane Deo. Yep, that's what I say, Chris. Absolutely. Well, guys, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. Don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell. Make sure that all notifications are turned on. I have noticed that it said 18% of all of my views, 18% of all of my subscribers have all notifications turned on. That's actually pretty good. But I'd like to see that a little bit higher. That way you guys are actually notified. Because just having notifications turned on is one thing. All turned on. There's a lot of people I have noticed that come in and say, I never got the notification. I just happened to see it while I was scrolling. You know, jeez. If you have the all notifications turned on, like on the second level, not just the top level, but that second bam bam down, I think that actually straight up tells you everything. Even when I got a something set for a future release or something. Avery says, I am one of those 18%. That's awesome. So I am getting ready. Like I said earlier, I've got a stream I'm going with, putting out a bunch of different stuff. This new series I got, I'm breaking down each position group. I just did the safety position group. You can go check that out. Also, I did an instant reaction on my Eric Fisher. If you haven't seen it, go check that out on my channel as well. The next group will probably be cornerbacks that I will put out tomorrow. Since I put out safeties today, I'll do cornerbacks tomorrow. Work my way down to the defensive line, then flip over to offensive line, and work my way back to the running backs and quarterbacks. But yeah, that's what I plan on doing. Seth Jenkins, what's going on, man? Appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Says Ballard is the GOAT. Now, he has a chance to earn that. He's definitely on the right trajectory. Now, naming Ballard the GOAT is like naming Mahomes the GOAT. He's been great for the amount of time he's been there. But we need long-term sustainability in order to give him that honest, to be fair and honest about things. They got to do this for an extended period of time to call him the GOAT. But right now, he's the best in the business today. And a lot of people can't say anything different because ranking-wise, I think Ballard, when it comes to the draft, with drafting players, was ranked number 1 in the NFL. Now, over the last 3 years, he has been number 1 in the NFL in the draft. So I know a lot of people were upset with some of the picks that he took in this draft, but man, when you got that kind of a ranking, you've earned a pass to let things slide and see what happens, right? All right. I figured you were, Seth. I figured you were. It's all good. He's the GOT, greatest of today. GOT. Guys, I got 23 views. Hey, don't forget, if you guys got a social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I don't know, some kind of Colts blog that you have, or you're part of a chat group or something, there's a share button right down here where you can hit the button for share. As a matter of fact, oh, Kim, you about turned all my stuff off when you did that. But anyhow, you can share that, copy and paste that into your social media or whatnot. I'd really appreciate it. It's people like you sharing that actually helps me get my stuff out to more people. And that's what I'm trying to do. I think I broke 1,400 subs on this stream. I think I finally broke that 1,400 sub mark. So thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. I would like to hit 2K before training camp starts, so that's another 600 that I have to pass up. And the only way to do that is to get people in that haven't seen, give them an opportunity to subscribe and join, and that's where you guys come in. I think I'm going to probably have to jump here pretty soon. My wife is getting ready to watch TV in the bedroom, like literally right there. So, hey, guys, thanks so much. I think I'm going to run, but appreciate everyone being here. And until next time, man, have a good one, guys. Make sure to check out the Colts Law merch shop. The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from. And all you got to do is just click one button and you can go and check out all these great merchandise items.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.